being aware that I'm walking around and people recognize me as either Arab or Muslim, that I was like, oh, okay, this is just something that I have to deal with for the rest of my life.
People get to know you, and like I said, they don't automatically think you're Arab or Palestinian, and then they find out you're Palestinian, and then it's like, oh, well, it just gets awkward. I don't know what it is.
If I'm not being mistaken for, being Mexican or Cuban, I'm always having to explain, where I'm originally from. Even though I was born and raised in Southfield, Michigan, I have to say my family's Lebanese, even though I only have a U.S. passport.
In class, if we're talking about Arabs, or if we're talking about Muslims in history or politics or whatever, you kind of like feel this like tension in the air, and all the eyes start to turn at you, like waiting for you to say something.
I will ask students, I'll do an exercise with them. So if I say 3 words like Arab, woman, Muslim, like what are the first things that come to your mind? And they'll say things like oppressed, backward, veil.
Everything about my identity is inherently politicized. Being a woman, being Arab, and being Muslim, like those are 3 very complex identities.
One time we were at the airport, my dad, he has a very Arab sounding name, and in addition to that, he's way darker than I am. So instantly, people were a bit more on alert, and it was kind of especially interesting because, we're both Arab, we're both from Syria, he's literally my dad, the same family. But just like that instant, they felt threatened by him, even though me and him were practically the same person.
A driver. It's like 4 or 5 months ago, like when I was talking about that I came here and I love writing, and as an Arab, you're not in the right place. That's what I understand from the way he was talking to me. If I'm an Arab, I don't have the right to say my what I think about.
In 1987, I was 4 at the time, and federal agents came into my house and arrested my uncle. That was like the first moment where I knew that being Palestinian specifically, and Arab probably more, I guess broadly speaking, meant something different.
On the one hand, I'm Arab and Muslim, and on the other hand, I'm also American. So sometimes balancing those 2 sides gets difficult, and I think you reach a point in your life where you find that balance and you become proud of that balance.
I remember this happened to me actually a couple weeks ago. I was in Westwood and we were driving. We needed to park somewhere, and we asked this one lady who was stopped. She had her car lights on, like she was gonna reverse out essentially. And while she was reversing, like she let us take her spot, and then she drove up right next to us and she looked at us and she was like, "By the way, I just want to say, I am so sorry for Trump. Like, I'm so sorry." But I was like, "Aw, that's cute. Like, that doesn't really happen often. Arabs and Muslims, we don't hate all white people just because y'all have Trump." Like,
people go to the media because they feel like, or they kind of absorb what the media has to say because they don't always have a peer from that background to talk with. And it's just kind of like, have an open mind, listen, don't listen to change someone else's point of view.
People are told to be expressive and be themselves, and at the same time they're being persecuted for that, in the sense that being yourself should be normal, and I think that's what we should strive for.